Hey YouTube, Paul Phillips here with Patek Photography and Gear Reviews and Patek Design and Patek Web Design. You don't hear me refer to those names very often when I'm doing my camera equipment reviews, but one of the first reviews I ever did for my YouTube channel was for e-learning, and this particular video is an update to one of the first videos I ever did 4 years ago, and that was to recommend the best software choice for building an e-learning storyboard. Well, fast forward 4 years and not much has changed. PowerPoint and Apple's Keynote are still the two dominant programs, or the two best programs for building storyboards and e-learning, and here's why. First of all, I'm on a MacBook Pro, so you can see the outline view of PowerPoint that I've got open here. It'll allow you to see the forest for the trees, and what I mean by that is down the side you've got kind of a light table view. So you can see all your slides in the outline view, and you know how many you have, what the titles are, and then you can also see in the main viewer here if some artwork has been done for your e-learning course or whatever the template is going to be. You can see that on each slide. And then down the bottom, you've got a provision for programming notes and the audio script. And that's what makes the program so powerful, is that you can see everything in one glance. And so it's very easy to go back and forth through the slides and sync them up with your flash build or whatever you're doing. So that was the first thing that I wanted to just sort of update you on. Nothing has changed. PowerPoint and Keynote are still great for doing storyboarding for e-learning. So let's go ahead one slide here. Whoops, got to put it in slideshow mode. Now I apologize, this slide was actually built in 4:3 aspect ratio, and I stretched it, so if that's what you're noticing, you know, don't panic. In fact, that's the next point that I want to make with you, is that should you be using 4:3 or 16:9 aspect ratio? I expect that a lot of people, they just open PowerPoint and it's already set to a 4:3 aspect ratio, and they never think about changing it. Well, here's a reason why you might want to change it. This is a 4:3, or a slide that was done in a 4:3 aspect ratio, what you're looking at here. And if I back up one slide, everything you see in white there, that's a 16:9 or an HD or a 720p flat panel display aspect ratio. So what you see in white here is 16:9. And what you see on this slide, right over to the black line here, is 4:3. So if you're planning to build a PowerPoint that you're going to turn into an MP4 and push it out to YouTube, you really want to consider, when you build your PowerPoint, switching from 4:3 aspect ratio to 16:9, because obviously you've got all this extra real estate here that you can use. And so let me give you some examples. So 1280 or 720 pixels, or 16:9 or 720p. So everything that you can see in blue here is 720p, and the actual dimensions, if you went into Photoshop and created the rectangle, you'd be talking about 1280 by 720 pixels. Commonly referred to as a widescreen HD 16:9 or 720p aspect ratio. You could go to 1080p if you wanted that super high res creamy look to the video, but it's really not necessary. 720p is plenty sharp enough. It keeps your file size smaller, and I highly recommend that if you're thinking about creating a PowerPoint that's going to be displayed on a smart board or a flat panel display, you should be building your PPT in 16:9 aspect ratio and do away with the old 4:3. Okay, so that was the second hot tip, I guess. Typically, if you're watching a YouTube video on whatever browser, and you're looking at that little window, the dimensions on that little window are 640 pixels by 360 or 360p. The problem is, if you create your PPT or your video at this aspect ratio, or not this aspect ratio, but these pixel dimensions, when you blow it up onto a flat panel, you're going to find it's pretty hard on the eyes. It gets really pixelated. So the best resolution I found for building your PPTs, especially if you know you're going to video or YouTube with them, is you want to build them at 1280 pixels, and you can't go wrong. Your slides are going to come across nice and clear. Everything will be easily visible, and your students are going to greatly appreciate your efforts for sure. Okay. Now the Z effect was the other thing that I wanted to talk about. This is something I didn't mention in the first software choice video, and this actually goes towards how do you lay out your PPT slides or your e-learning storyboard. Well, the Z effect it goes like this. Google and various e-learning academics, they analyze the living daylights out of how people view websites and e-learning courses. Why do they do that? Because they want to know where people's eyes go to, especially Google. They're trying to sell them something, right? So from all this analysis, we've learned that people, when they look at a website or an e-learning course, their eyes typically go to the top left corner first, then they move across to the top right, then down to the bottom left, and then across to the bottom right. So knowing that gives you kind of the inside edge when you're building your e-learning courses, and that is put the information in your course where people are going to expect it to be. They're going to expect, if their eyes go to the top left, put your logo there or the title of your course. Then their eyes go to the top right, make sure your navigation is there, your intro button or your get started button, your objective module test. For somebody that's new to your course, they don't know how to navigate it, give them a place to start. Always have an intro button. They can go right to it, and then from there on it's up to them how they move through your course. Put your main navigation across the top, horizontal from left to right. The next thing about the Z effect that's kind of interesting is that some of you are looking at this and you're probably saying, why has he got the graphics on the left and the text on the right? Everybody reads from left to right. Okay, well, the Z effect does two things. First of all, it divides up your content area into two sections. Is really what it's doing is that if our eyes are already over here in the top right and they're coming down to the bottom left, we want the text title up in this area here, and then we want our bullet points just below. And then as you move down, their eyes are going to connect with your graphics. And then you come down to the bottom left. In this case, in our bottom bar functionality, we've got some sequencing, copyrights information, play, volume control, page numbers, and then, you know, as they click through the page numbers, the title of the page or the name of the page shows up here. Your bottom bar functionality is totally up to you, what information you want to put in there, and it'll vary from course to course and subject to subject. But the next time you build an e-learning course, think about laying out your PowerPoint, or even if you're just doing a PowerPoint. First of all, switch to 16:9 aspect ratio and think about using the Z effect. And I think you'll find that the whole idea behind the Z effect is to keep the retention of the students, keep their focus. If a student is sort of hunting around looking for things, they're not focused on the message that you're trying to get across. So put things where they expect it to be, and their focus will be on your content. Your retention is going to be a heck of a lot better. That's it for this one. I'm going to do another additional video because a few things have changed in the e-learning arena, and one thing I'm seeing a lot of is that due to the economy, a lot of companies are just going to their employees and saying, you know, hey Joe Blow, build me an e-learning course. And one thing that's happening is a lot of people are dubbing audio tracks over their PPTs and pushing it out to YouTube. And a great program to build those MP4 videos with is Camtasia Studio 8. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm using here to build this video. So I'm going to show you how to create a simple video, like an e-learning course like this one, put a front end and a back end on it so it looks really professional. It's not difficult to do. You know, a little bit of Photoshop, a little bit of Camtasia, a little bit of PowerPoint, and you've got yourself a really polished looking, professional looking e-learning storyboard or video that you can push out to YouTube. Totally up to you. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like us. And if you're interested, I've got a small e-learning storyboarding kit available. I'll put the description in the, or I'll put the link in the description. We asked $9.95 US for it. If it's something of interest, it'll help, you know, if you're building your first storyboard and you'd like a Photoshop master template and a PPT template that you can use. There's also a couple of MP4 videos in there that will help you get started. I mean, just click on the link, you know, go to our website and make a deposit, and we'll get that e-learning storyboarding kit out to you ASAP. All right, thanks again for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe and like us, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.